Hey, how's it going? Bill Lethman here for Money Evolution. In this video, I'm going to be answering a question: should I roll over my 401k to a Roth? Well, this topic came up as I was going through watching some YouTube videos, came across another Dave Ramsey video, and he had a caller call in, and she had explained to him that she was trying to communicate with her 401k provider, trying to figure out how to do a conversion of her 401k plan to a Roth. And they were telling her, it sounded like maybe just giving her a hard time, saying that that wasn't possible within their plan rules. And I'm not sure what her plan allows for, doesn't allow for, but that wasn't really the biggest issue with this. The biggest issue, she was asking Dave what he thought about doing this, about converting essentially her 401k plan to her IRA. The first thing he mentioned was, you have to be on baby step 7. And I'm not a Dave Ramsey expert to know what baby step 7 is, but I'm guessing, he wants everything to be paid off. He wants you to be debt free, and I don't have any problem with that whatsoever. She explained she was on baby step 7, and it sounded like she was doing very well through a couple of additional questions that Dave had for her. We learned that she had, her and her husband, about a $2 million net worth. Which is absolutely fantastic, and that she had about $400,000 in her 401k, and her husband had $300,000 in his 401k plan. So other than that, we can assume maybe they have a house that's paid off. We don't know how much the value of the house is. Dave never asked. They could have a bunch of other money sitting in bank accounts and cash and CDs and things of that nature, but that never really came up. But Dave, just on the information that she was on baby step 7 and probably had all this stuff paid off, that he said, yeah, go ahead. I would absolutely roll it over into a Roth 401k. And he started on to a line of information basically saying, here's how you need to talk to your 401k provider to see if that's a possibility, or you could roll it out to an IRA account potentially. And so I would have had a lot of other questions, because I think it's a much bigger conversation than just having your house paid off, having a good net worth, because she's 32 years old. The number one question that I would have had is, if you convert over, and it sounded like they were recommending to just convert the whole thing, $400,000, do you have the money to pay the taxes on that? Because something I've talked about in many other videos, if you do those Roth conversions, you need to have the money to pay taxes, and if you don't, the money would have to come from probably one of these retirement accounts. And because she's not 59 and a half, not only would she have to pay taxes on that like you would for the conversion, but you're also going to have to make up a 10% penalty. So depending on what tax bracket they're in, they could have $120,000 in taxes if they had combination state and federal taxes of 30%, let's say, and then maybe the penalty might even push them well above that. So how to pay the taxes would be one thing. So do you have money? Do you have money to pay the taxes outside your 401k or your IRA accounts? Now, if you're over 59 and a half, we've talked about it, it can make sense to use some of the money from your IRA account to pay the taxes. It's going to shrink the balance down on the amount that you're going to have invested. But if it makes sense to do that Roth conversion, paying the taxes out of the IRA account itself could in fact make sense. But as I've mentioned in many other videos, the number one question that you need to understand, whether it makes sense to do that Roth conversion or not, is what is my tax bracket today versus what do I think my tax bracket is going to be in the future. So let's assume that this couple, let's say in their early 30s, sounds like they're doing pretty well. They've got a very nice nest egg and everything. They might be making a pretty decent amount of money, but we would want to know, where are they falling in the tax bracket? So we know that right now we have the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act rate. And by the way, this video was actually posted online 2 years ago, so that would have been around 2022, which would have given them 22, 23, 24, and 25, 4 years under the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act rate. So if it did make sense to do this Roth conversion, one of the things is maybe to spread it out over 4 years. So if they're married, filing a joint tax return for 2024, I believe the amount in that 24% tax bracket is taxable income of about $369,000. So if they're making $200,000, which would be a nice income for two people, they might be able to do a $169,000 Roth conversion and do it at that 24% federal tax bracket. Probably though, if they're making a couple $100,000 a year, let's say, assuming that, and they do a $400,000 Roth conversion, some of it would be taxed at 24%, but then they're going to hit that next tax bracket, which jumps all the way up to 32%. So again, the question Dave didn't ask is, where are you right now in the tax bracket? Where do you think you're going to be? We know the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act rates are going to expire, and if they're in their early 30s and doing this well, chances are down the road they're going to probably be in a higher tax bracket too. So all of that would need to be analyzed. What is your tax bracket now versus where is your tax bracket going to be in the future there? So when you're looking at doing a Roth conversion, there's a lot of things that you need to understand, and really not just, hey, I think taxes are going up, I need to convert this all over, because probably the recommendation that makes the most sense is to maybe smooth that tax bracket out over time a little bit and maybe kind of filter in those Roth conversions over time. So again, just to kind of recap there, the things we want to know is how are you going to pay the taxes? That's going to be a big critical factor there, especially if you're not 59 and a half yet. And then where are you in the tax bracket and where do you think you're going to be down the road? But those are questions that Dave didn't really get into. Wish he would have. That's part of the problem of having call-in shows where people ask generic questions, and it should always be prefaced that even if you're watching my videos, that you should always check with a professional, a tax professional, a financial advisor, somebody that knows and understands this, that can really get into the details of your individual situation and make sure it's the best thing for you that makes sense. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching the video. If you'd like to learn more about what we do at Money Evolution, head over to moneyevolution.com. We've got a lot of great resources there on our website. We're really trying to build this out into a financial retirement planning information hub there, where you can find information about a whole bunch of different topics, personal finance, retirement planning. You can also check out some of the links down in the description below the video. You can learn more about our financial plan, our comprehensive plan called the Money Evolution Plan, and also our self-guided DIY retirement planning program that really helps you to get a full-blown financial plan using some really good software and everything, where I kind of guide you through step by step in that process. It's called the Retirement Time Machine, so you can check out that as well. And I look forward to seeing you back in one of my next videos. Thanks.